This program is being organized jointly with the IIF Andhra Chapter also through Microsoft Teams. Before we get started, we request all the participants to kindly mute your microphones during the presentation, and towards the end of the program, you may unmute yourself and ask the questions. This way, we'll be avoiding all disturbances through the meeting. And also one more requesting except the speaker, not anybody else to switch on your video, because we'll be recording the same, so it'll get an interruption. So anybody other than the speaker is requested not to switch on your videos also. To get things started, we now request Mr. R.A. Prasad, Chairman IIF Andhra Chapter, to welcome the gathering, please.
Good afternoon to all the members.
Good afternoon, sir.
You are able to hear, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Dear Foundrymen, it is the last day of the current year, and hope all of us have a good year ending after suffering for 2 years, 2020 and 21, and hope the next year also is going to be more beneficial to all of us. Though on the one side, it is threatening to a virus to come again, but we need to take all the precautions so that we do not get affected again, and we continue our upward journey for the great year ahead. So today's topic, binder for your Novak Foundry, Furan or Alphaset, choice is yours, by Mr. Dipak Ghosh. He is a veteran in the foundry this field, and I know him almost in the years of 90s when I was in Kulti in West Bengal. I met during that time during his visits to Kulti and on various occasions. And nowadays, most of the foundries are using no-bake binders, and from the conventional processes, they're shifting towards chemically bonded and using these organic or inorganic binders, so that to get clean and castings with good surface finish and dimensional accuracy. So with this, I welcome all the members to the presentation to be given by Mr. Dipak Ghosh. And on behalf of Andhra Chapter, I sincerely thank Chennai Chapter for organizing this webinar jointly with Andhra Chapter. Thank you, and hand over to Mr. Vignesh.
Thank you, Prasad sir. Sir, we will be making many more webinars with Andhra Chapter, sir, in the coming time. So
Thank you.
That, we would like to introduce our speaker for the day. So it gives me immense pleasure introducing our speaker for the day, Mr. Dipak Ghosh. Talking about his educational background, he has a BSc Chemistry degree and a BTech Chemical Engineering graduate, and he's a MTech Polymer Technology graduate as well from University of Calcutta in the year 1975, 78, and 1980 respectively. He got associated with the foundry industry since 1981 as technical representative of a foundry binder manufacturer. Worked from the year 1986 to 2002 in IVP Limited, a leading manufacturer of binders and coatings in the country in various technical posts. Working in Forace Polymers Private Limited, a unit of Forace Group with diversified interests, including manufacture and marketing of phenolic resins for various applications, including foundries. Presently, he is the Director Technical at Forace Polymers Private Limited. He further points about Deepak sir. He's a part of the review panel of one of the European journals related to articles on Foundry published quarterly, drafted specifications for organic binders for use in foundries on behalf of BIS, represented India on behalf of IIF in BRICS meet at World Foundry Congress 2017 at Johannesburg, South Africa, visited foundries of various countries, including Italy, Poland, Egypt, Turkey, China, South Africa, United Arab Emirates, and Netherlands, and also Oman and Israel for technical presentations on behalf of Forace. Attending exhibitions, he has attended 9 GIFAs consecutively from 1987 to 2019, attended Ankyros on last 2 occasions. It is indeed our pleasure, gentlemen, to have such an expert, Mr. Dipak sir, along with us. So, Dipak sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Prasad and Mr. Vignesh, and welcome to all the participants. And we start my your topic with thanksgiving to IIF Chennai and Andhra Chapter for giving me one more opportunity to share my experience of 4 decades with the foundry binders. Last couple of occasions, my topic was cold box binder system, the most widely used core making binder for green sand foundries. This time, I requested my friend Mr. Shakti Bell to let me choose my own topic. And in the process, I have chosen my own topic, the most popular binders for green sand, Novec foundries. These are 2 foundries classification based on nature of binders used. One is green sand, another is Novec. In green sand, although it is a mixed term because green sand are used for making molds and cores are made out of synthetic binders. Most commonly, it is cold box or in many cases, it is shell sand. In case of Novec foundries, the binders are for mold making are Novecs. Not Novecs, it is a special, it is another section, subdivision of Novec, subclassification of Novec, that is self-sets. Means these are 2 or 3 component systems, all used with the sand, preferably in continuum mixer, and the fluid sand is packed into the patterns called molds and cores, and these are steeped when these become. So it stands that these are Novecs, but these are self-sets. So Novecs, all self-sets are Novecs, but all Novecs are not self-sets in the sense Novecs, your amine cured cold box and carbon dioxide cured phenolic also, these are Novecs, but these are subclassified as gassing systems. So this is the total range of self-sets for use in Novec foundries. Again, mostly on continuum mixers. These are Furan Novec, Alphaset, acid cured phenolic, PEP set, alkyd, silicate self-set. Silicate self, it is in the process of use in very, very few foundries, but it has got a future. So at present, Furan and Alphaset put together enjoy approximately 85% of total market share of binders in use in Novec foundries. So our topic of discussion will be on these 2 binder systems. So this is the present and future of Novec binders in India. Furan and Alphaset are most popular, as I have already told. Phenolic Novec, it has been mostly replaced by Furan, but recently many of the foundries have switched over again to 2-part phenolic by replacing Furan again because of unusual hike of furfural alcohol price and also the Furan price. These 2 systems are interchangeable. So foundries have got the flexibility to switch over from one to another depending upon your prices. PEP set is in use in limited number of foundries, to my knowledge, in 2 steel foundries, 2 cast iron foundries for making only cores, and 1 non-ferrous foundry. Advantages of PEP set over other self-set are fastest curing. This is the fastest self-set on the earth, and curing speed matches almost to gassing systems. The molds made out of the system are extremely rigid with exceptional dimensional accuracy, and castings also very much your free-form surface defects and also dimensionally very much accurate. The largest weight coarse molds in India is used with the PEF set, with the half mold being 2.5 tons of sand. So this type of mold you cannot expect from other type of binders. Furan is next, but Alphaset you cannot go for that because it does not have that much of dry strength to handle some bigger molds. And I talked about the mold that is in loop line, that is flashless mold. Alkyl process binder of 80s is most suitable for box mixer is obsolete now. So we have talked about the mold making binders for Novec foundries, particularly in continuum mixer. Cores in these Novec foundries are preferably made out of gassing systems and big ones out of self sets. Binder systems for mold and cores should be compatible to achieve uniformity in quality of reclaimed sand. Just like that, Alphaset molds with the carbon dioxide cured phenolic cores and PEF set mold with cold box core. These are compatible and you can reclaim together. So contamination does not matter. For Furan and acid cured phenolic, cores and molds are mostly made out of those only. For all molds, small cores can be made out of PUCB or acid cured phenolic and PEF set because these two systems are mostly neutral. So it does not matter much whether your mold is alkaline or acidic. So that's the flexibility of this system. So now the basic requirements for a binder to be competent for use in your Novec foundry. Strength, it has been classified into three main sections. Dry strength. This is the strength required by molds at different stages, right from stripping to closing. So the mold should be compatible with nearest sources of sand. This is also very important point because sand is the costliest material and it is the maximum volume material required in the foundry. So nearest source of sand will be preferred. It should offer required bench life of mixed sand out of available continual mixer. What I want to mean, the bench life using a 60-ton mixer and a 30-ton mixer, there will be difference. So faster system can be useful even in 60-ton mixer, but the same may not be sufficient in bench life, may not be sufficient for 30-ton mixer. Then after it is filled, strip time should be as fast as possible, up to your discretion. Then should offer congenial workplace environment. Mold should have required strength for stripping and subsequent handling at different stages till closing. And this involves handling by manipulators in place of flat coating. So all the stages the mold should remain intact without falling or without breakage or without deformation. Assemble system. This next come the hot strength. So one, it is assembled or closed molds and cores. Then assembled system should maintain rigidity during and few minutes post pouring still skin formation of castings. That means liquid metal, the mold core assembly should have got the strength to resistance the metal temperature and pressure. Then it should again maintain the shape till skin formation or formation of rigidity of the molds. Then post pouring, mold should not crack before skin formation is over to resist leakage. Mold should not deform till castings attain rigidity in retain strength. After solidification, assemble should disintegrate slowly, enabling shifting of assembly to knockout zone without spoiling. This indicator process of molds should be complete after cooling, enable easy removal of castings for system, should be cost effective. So these are the ideal requirements, but no binder is ideal. So in practicality, you have to have some points of compromise to get one strength, you may have to lose another. So that depends upon the optimization of your use of the different binders in particular foundries. So let us talk about Furan. Furan was introduced in world market in 1960s along with acid cured phenolic. But this system could not be used, could not be find application till 1980s because these are basically fast systems. And for handling this, you require continuum mixers. In 1980s, middle of 1980s only in India, commission of continuum mixers started. Before that, alkyd was the most commonly used self-set in batch mixers in Indian foundries. So when in mid 1980s, IMF introduced maybe around dozens of continuum mixers by the gentleman, Mr. Jack Frost, he is no more. Then your Indian foundry started using these two systems, Furan and acid cured phenolic. But that time, acid cured phenolic got preference because Furan formulations were not suitable in Indian conditions. The major issues were these are extremely fast system, particularly in summer, this bench life could not be achieved. And then again, it had a huge smell of free formaldehyde, huge irritating smell in the subfloor. So it remained dormant till end of 20th century and beginning of 21st century with modifications to Indianize the systems. After Indianizing the system, it became a viable binder suitable for Indian conditions. So from beginning of 21st century, in 2 decades, it has been modified in so many ways. And today, it is one of the your two most commonly used binder systems in Indian foundries. So going through the chemistry, it consists in 2 components, resin and catalyst. Resins are low molecular weight polymers of furfural alcohol. Furfural alcohol is an agriculture product. It is the only reactant for formaldehyde apart from phenol. This is the agriculture-based product. So this furfural alcohol and formaldehyde is reacted in presence of either urea or phenol or both. So for formaldehyde, you can see there are 3 reactants. Catalyst is single or blend of aryl sulfonic acids like paratoluene sulfonic acid, xylene sulfonic acid, etc. with occasional blending with sulfuric acid, which acts as a kicker, particularly at low temperature. Apart from polymerized form, furfural alcohol also remains as free form in binders, which contribute to strength of composites. Furfural alcohol, when added with acid, it reacts violently to polymerize and the mass become very rigid. That means free formaldehyde also act as a binder for sand particles. But it is beyond the scope of this presentation why all acids cannot be used, just like nitric acid, sulfuric acid, hydrochloric acid, because these don't give required bench life with the mixed sand. It gives uncontrolled reactions. So curing mechanism of this is that Furan resins are not stable particularly below a particular pH. So it is by lowering the pH of the resin, its curing takes place. So what is modern FNB and what are the deficiencies? Formulation of Furan have been modified in many ways after understanding the chemistry of polymerization. Original Furan formulations were based on low molecular weight polymers of furfural alcohol and urea with formaldehyde. That means urea, formaldehyde, and furfural alcohol. free formula as reactive dilution used to be a part of formulations. So this is the polymer of furfuryl alcohol, urea, and formaldehyde with free furfuryl alcohol as reactive diluent. Most of the present formulations contain phenol as a third reactant, along with furfuryl alcohol and urea, formaldehyde being common reactant. So you can see there are 3 reactants at your disposal for reaction with formaldehyde. So that gives huge flexibility of formulating the resin from standpoint of a manufacturing chemist. Furfuryl alone with formaldehyde do not produce workable polymers, at least for use as no-bake binders in foundries. That means furfuryl alcohol, although it's possible to react with formaldehyde in different pH conditions, it does not form a workable polymer as no-bake binder in foundries. You need to add either urea or phenol or both. Urea in formulations improves strength of composites. Composites mean resin bonded sand, that is molds or cores. Then judicious use of urea in formulations helps reduction of free formaldehyde, a potential eye irritant in binders. It is not only eye irritant, it is a potential carcinogen also. So right now, its your TLV in the foundries have been made very, very low, so that neither it pollutes the environment, nor it becomes affects your health on exposure. Use of phenol is not just to cheapen the products. Many your foundrymen believe if you add phenol, it is added just to as a low cost alternate to furfuryl alcohol. No, it has got a cost to be added. It improves hot strength of composites. So this is a more or less your formulation and the contents of the Furan resin. Furfuryl content 50 to 85, moisture content 5 to 15, nitrogen content nil to 6% in binder. What happens when you increase in furfuryl content? It increases strength of molds and cores. Reclaimability of used sand by mechanical process is increased because it's a very brittle polymer. Reclaimability of mechanical sand by thermal process is facilitated. Decoring of molds are improved. Unit price is increased. Definitely, furfuryl alcohol is costlier than all other ingredients you are adding. Then shelf life of binder is increased because it is a diluent. Then comes the moisture content. Increase in moisture content increases bench life of mixed sand, decreases storage life of binder because the phenolic component of your resin slowly advances, and when it advances at a particular stage, then viscosity increases. So it decreases storage life of the binder, reduces through curing of molds because water, as you know, it remains and does not evaporate from the system, neither it is getting consumed in the system. So reduces through curing of molds. In case of flaskless mold, it causes occasional puncture of molds because of formation of extra steam at the pouring temperature of metal, and it induces hydrogen porosity in steel and aluminum castings. Nitrogen content versus resin quality. Nitrogen content in binder is most important criteria related to binder quality. More than nitrogen, it is rated as a lower is the quality. So nitrogen comes in resin from urea, one of the reactants as you have already discussed. Urea in polymer chains are dissociated into elemental nitrogen at pouring temperature of iron, which has got solubility in liquid iron. Entrapped nitrogen cause pinhole defect in castings. Solubility is directly proportional to liquid metal temperature. Pouring temperature being higher, logically, steel is more prone to nitrogen pinhole defects than cast iron. In contrast to popular belief that furan cannot be used in steel foundries because of presence of nitrogen in the system, Modern Furan has proven to be suitable for all types, sizes, and thickness of steel castings without nitrogen-related defects. Source of nitrogen is more important than total nitrogen. We have already discussed that nitrogen in elemental form is soluble to the metal, not in molecular form. So all nitrogen bearing components are not equally prone to dissociation to eliminate nitrogen. Nitrogen urea gets easily dissociated to eliminate nitrogen. As for example, hardeners for cold box and PEF set contain MDI, where nitrogen content varying from 7.84% and it is added 0.8 to 1% by weight of sand. But castings produced in molds and cores made using these systems are not as prone to nitrogen phenol defects, as here nitrogen is bound in complex form resisting dissociation to elemental nitrogen. So this is the limit of nitrogen. It is a thumb rule and book values. Furan as binder for cast iron casting should have nitrogen less than 3%. Furan as binder for steel casting should have nitrogen less than 1%. It is more appropriate to talk about percentage of nitrogen in molding sand than in binder. So nitrogen in molding sand for cast iron should be less than equal to 0.15%. That is the value I have copied from this BCIRA, and we have seen the many of the foundries using cold box. They test nitrogen to see that this limit is not exceeded. The nitrogen in molding sand for lightweight steel castings should be less than 0.10, and for heavy steel casting it should be less than 0.5%. Now comes sulfur in molding sand. Sulfur comes in molding sand from sulfur-bearing acids used as curatives. Most common acids are paratoluene sulfonic acid and xylene sulfonic acid. Both are aromatic sulfonic acids. In India, xylene sulfonic acid is rarely used because it is required only at temperatures below 10 degrees centigrade, so very low temperature applications, and it is always costlier than PTSA. As I have already told, sulfuric acid is also sometimes added at low temperature to give increase the rate of setting at low temperature. So this is your mathematically you have calculated sulfur in PTSA monohydrate is 16.85 and sulfuric acid 30.2.6%. Why I am talking about PTSA monohydrate? Because solid PTSA crystallizes out of water as monohydrate, as copper sulfate comes with 5 molecules of water. So this is the topic of foundryman. You know better than me, but as a customary, I have taken this out of literature or some published papers. Sulfur iron, SG iron demands less than 0.3% sulfur in molding sand to avoid denorization of surface of castings. In some publication, the value is given less than equal to 0.7%. Apart, precipitation of magnesium sulfide takes place when molding sand contains excess sulfur, which counts as inclusion in castings. Special thinner based coatings containing graphite and magnesium oxide are used in many cases to compensate loss of magnesium used for nodulization. In steel casting, sulfur is generally regarded as impurity and needs to be reduced to practicality, except in some special cases, one being ease of machinability. So other acids are catalyst. Phosphoric acid is only non-sulfuric bearing acid used as curative for furan. It is mostly used in combination with sulfur bearing acids as it does not perform well alone. Carriers or diluents for all catalysts are water or methanol. Potency of catalyst vary depending upon dilution ratio. That means if you take the example of potassium, your toluene sulfonic acid, if you can dilute up to 70%, 60%, 50%, and more it is diluted, less is your reactivity, or it's increase in enhancing bench life. But there is an upper limit of dilution. That means you cannot make it 90% because at this it reaches the saturation temperature of the acid and it precipitates. So in most cases, the upper limit is not more than 75%. Then apart from this dilution, you can control by addition from 30 to 60%. So there are two variables for you. One is the dilution ratio of active component and your carrier, and then percentage addition. As strong, medium or slow acid, and percentage addition is 30 to 60%. So this is the latest development in Furan technology. Extremely low binder demand, 0.75% in case of mechanical sand. Improvement in dry as well as hot strength. Improvement in tensile strength as never before. Binders with extremely low nitrogen as low as 0.4% and even nil. Variants with high collapsibility for use in non-ferrous castings. Customized formulations with better understanding of chemistry. Modern formulations contain extremely low free formaldehyde, offering extremely congenial workplace environment. Reclamation. This system offers the best reclaimability of used sand by mechanical process. Reclaimability is as high as 95%. Low LOI in mechanical sand can be kept well below 3% by single attrition. Mechanical sand requires lesser binder than new sand for equal strength development. Thermal or TR sand demands layer binder demand than new sand. Thermal sand is usually slower than new sand because build-up of alkali on repeated reclamation. Origin of alkali in the reclaimed sand is, it comes from sodium oxide, is used in the manufacturing of the your phenol, your perfluoro formaldehyde resin. So now I have given most of the foundrymen, they have got the sand controls. Then check this, carry out this test as a routine test. LOI is a very simple test. I'm not going to elaborate. The theory is that you take some small quantity, around 1 gram of mechanical liquid sand in silica crucible, and then allow the volatiles to go at 85 degrees centigrade to remove all the volatiles. Organic metals will burn away and inorganic or sand will remain along with small amount of sodium oxide. So LOI is expressed as the percentage of the mass or percentage of the mass lost during the experiment divided by based on charge weight. So this alkali demand value, it is just like opposite of acid demand value for virgin sand or raw sand. Here also around 5 grams of sand is taken into 250 milliliter flask. It is thoroughly boiled, filtered, and the filtered is taken away to completely transferred to another flask, and that is titrated against standard, that is standard basic normal sodium hydroxide caustic solution using phenolphthalein as indicator, and you express this figure as milliliter 0.1 normal milliliter point normal milliliter 0.1 normal NOx per 100 gram sand. Now comes nitrogen content. This is the most important test, and it is little difficult unless the chemist has got practices it. But in routine test, it can be taken very easily. Here, the theory is there is a special apparatus called Gelda apparatus in the name of a Dutch scientist who invented the process, and the glassware cost not more than 5,000 rupees, including chemicals used. Automatic, your instrument is available to test it, but the semi-automatic instrument itself cost around 11 lakhs, and manual testing by experienced chemist is good enough. So this is the theory. First, the left-hand side, there is a gel flask. Here the small sample to be tested is taken away a flask and different reagents are added along with sulfuric acid. It is digested where the ammonia, the nitrogen containing compounds are converted to ammonium sulfate with sulfuric acid. This is the first stage of reaction. Second stage of reaction is the right hand side. This is the gel attachment. The round bottom flask you are watching. It is transformed for the left your mass to round bottom plus mass in the right hand side, and the following attachment is the genital attachment. And this mass here, it is strong sodium hydroxide is used to convert all the ammonium sulfate to ammonia, and that ammonia is absorbed in either in your dilute acid or even water in the conical flask at the bottom. And when all the ammonia is dissolved, if you, in the case of when you are using small quantity of your standard acid, then the ammonia liberated will consuming acid to some extent, and the excess acid is titrated with standard alkali, standard your acid, standard acid using methyl orange as indicator. So ammonia, 17 grams ammonia will form 14 grams of nitrogen. So based on your input weight, you can calculate it as percentage. Then sulfur content. Sulfur content is also a very, very integrated test, and many of the research laboratories, they have got that analyzer called CHNS. These elemental analyzers, these are there in different IITs, but my experience of getting analyzed the samples at this low value of sulfur agent is not very good. Most of the I had given the sample in 2 laboratories, and results are far from the reality in my standard sample also. So we have, in our laboratory, have started to develop we have tried to develop a test, and we have seen that results are fairly accurate. I will tell you the theory also only, and we have got calculation that you can go through afterwards leisurely. Here, first, that sulfur, this sample, like the testing of alkali demand value, it is boiled in water, and that is transferred to a conical flask by filtration, where this all the acids, including sulfuric acid and PTS, all are water soluble. That will come into the flask. Then there you titrate with standard alkali, 0.1 normal your caustic soda, to get the total acidity. And the total acidity you calculate as thinking that it is paratoluene sulfonic acid. So this you can find out from the titer of the sodium hydroxide how much paratoluene sulfuric acid is there. So now you have assumed that it is only paratoluene sulfonic acid, but it may or may not contain sulfuric acid also. So next step is that same with the filtrate, you add barium chloride solution. Barium chloride forms sulfate precipitate with sulfuric acid only, but not paratoluene sulfonic acid. So the barium sulfate form is very silky precipitate. You just filter it with a Gooch crucible number 4 with the help of vacuum pump. The Gooch crucible will retain all the sulfate as barium sulfate, and by weighing that gravimetrically, you know how much barium sulfate has come, and that is equivalent to how much sulfuric acid, and that sulfuric acid is equivalent to how much paratoluene sulfonic acid. So deduct the total your sulfuric acid from paratoluene sulfonic acid. So now you get 2 components with sulfur bearing. One is PTSA, another is sulfuric acid. So with the figures, I have already given you how much percentage sulfur contains sulfuric acid as well as PTSA. These calculations, if you want, I'll forward you. And these are the very, very accurate tests. And recently we have analyzed one sand, thermal lithium, mechanical lithium sand from is found in South Coimbatore, the mechanical lithium sand. We have analyzed that alkali demand value is 13.53 milliliter, 0.1 normal NOH per 100 gram sand. Nitrogen is 0.104%, and sulfur is 0.0656%. And this test we have standardized by using known samples also. So this is the this is for your Furan. So we'll be going to next for Alphaset. It was introduced in Indian Foundries and World Foundries March later stage in the middle of 80s, but this system got quick acceptance in Indian Foundries. By 90s, it got recognition as the binder for continuous sand mixers. The reasons for its quick popularity were more environment friendly compared to contemporary binders, free from nitrogen, sulfur, and phosphorus, leading to metallurgically sound castings, unique two-stage curing, enable castings to be resistant to thinning. In brief, this is your details of Furan. There is two component systems. Resin is phenol formaldehyde resin, and small chains are restricted. Small chains are surrounded by potassium and sodium ions. These small chains are separated by this. Then that means media is strongly alkaline, and this phenol formaldehyde dissolved type of resin is one-stage resin. That's why it advances to storage. So stability is lesser than Furan. Then hardeners are esters of polyhydric alcohols or polybasic acids. The total organic composition binder here is only 40%, rest being water and alkali. Curing of this system takes place in two steps. First, room temperature curing by complex mechanism of formation of crosslinks. So this is precise the hot stain, your dry stain. And this second stage of curing takes place at metal pouring temperature, where the system develops slight plasticity before picking up further strength. Relaxation phenomena in staircase of curing enable casting to be free from thinning, which appears with other binder system because of silica sand expansion at 583 degrees centigrade. This is a mechanism I have tried to establish for first stage of curing. See, curing is always meant by formation of lateral primary bonds and conversion of thermosetting material. So first line you can see is a linear chain. Second, some lateral chains have formed. So this gives the molds and cores made out of your Alphaset bonded sand, for which is sufficient for right from steeping to closing. So basically it is a dry stain. But so what is the development in recent time? With better understanding of chemistry of polymerization of curing in last 3.5 decades, it has been possible to modify resin formulations in many ways. This launching of series of hardeners in beginning of 21st century to achieve diversified bench life and steep time. That was one addition in the beginning of 21st century. Then it has been worked to give a longer storage life. Then optimization of variables like total alkali, ratio of total alkali of your sodium and potassium, then moisture content, to all to give you customized formulation required for individual foundries. So unlike Furan, where percentage of furfural alcohol in finished product got direct relationship with quality, in Alphaset there is no such constituent with similar importance. So usual composition of the binders is resin 35 to 45%, water 45 to 50%, and alkali 10 to 15%. So this is the most widely discussed topic. It is sodium-potassium controversy. I have written controversy because many foundrymen believe that potassium, it is of course, these news are spread by your suppliers only to undermine others, chemicals, because it is believed that as potassium hydroxide is costly, people compromise with quality by adding more sodium hydroxide. But we have already your experience that that is not the case. However, I have given you two references, both from European journals. In both the publications, they have not told anything regarding the quality of castings and relations with type of alkali used. This publication only talk about the reclaimability of used sand while using two types of your alkali. Sodium hydroxide gives better reclaimability in mechanical process, and potassium by thermal process. They have not written anything regarding the quality. But this is one more paper where your group of researchers, while converting a steel foundry from sodium silicate to your conventional means first Alphaset was only potassium was used. With the conventional potassium based system, when they converted, they found improvement in surface hot tear of the castings and surface finish were improved. While converting from sodium silicate to potassium based system, surface finish and hot tear of the castings improved, but shrinkage of large castings were being experienced. That is using potassium based Alphaset. The foundry then experimented with a new sodium based ester cured phenolic, and after a year in use, found it reduced hot tears, improved surface finish. The new ester cured phenolic reduced surface shrinkage defects through faster heat diffusion in support of directional solidification. This is not my word. This is recorded, and this is the three reference I have given. You can cross check from literature. So now the final phase, your comparison. APNB works with binder level of 1.2 to 1.6%, which is much more demanded than your Furan. Furan works at as low as 0.8% in reclaimed sand. Quality of reclaimed sand is also far better in case of Furan compared to Alphaset. With all this, even a new sand at 2% addition, rarely Alphaset sand exceed dry strength of 25 kg per centimeter square, whereas mechanical reclaimed sand using 0.8%, it goes more than 45 per centimeter square dry strength. So this is already I have discussed, and mechanical reclaimed sand for Alphaset is very weak in bond formation. Even while using in backing sand, you need to increase the binder content so that it does not spoil. This is a mechanical addition offers reclaimability of as high as 95% to in Furan, and 75%, maximum 75% in case of Alphaset. Mechanical reclamation followed by thermal reclamativity of Furan sand to practically 100%. It is not required in case of Furan sand. Still, many foundries, they reclaim your small quantity, small portion of their mechanical sand by thermal method so that their input new sand is reduced. Thermal liquefaction for alphaset sand requires a special chemical in form of aqueous slurry for pumping in thermal chamber along with mechanical sand for removal of inorganic salts along with fines. This involves investment, capital investment, and recurring cost also. Mechanical sand generated from Furan is extremely compressible and is much easier than alphaset sand for removal of organic materials. In this direction, Furan users must have to work hard, and there are some reference and work is going on in AGH University, Krakow, Poland, where they have got a prototype reclaimer, and I have seen some publications and I visited personally that institute. I know the professors, they are working on the disposal of fines generated from the mechanically reclaimed Furan sand. Stability of thermal reclaimed sand. This is a observation. Thermally generated APNB sand or alphaset sand has been found to lose reactivity and drop in strength with binder on storage and reaches in stage of no reactivity. Of course, I should add here many cases because I have not studied all sand from all the foundries, but couple of foundries have studied and we have found that its reactivity decreases to a point of no reactivity along with the binder. In case of Furan, buildup of sodium leads to slow down in reactivity, demanding more catalyst, but no drop in strength is experienced unlike alphaset. What's alternate for thermal liquefaction of APNB sand in that case? Because 65% is no good and maximum 75%. So I've got a couple of examples. Primary attrition followed by secondary called dynamic reflection. Here, reclaimability is 85% assured, LOI of reclaimed sand less than 0.1%, and payback period reported in a particular foundry is less than 2 years. Environment. Binder components of alphaset contain phenol formulated resins. Although Furan, it is not a must, but most of the model formulation it has got. It is well documented that phenol formulated resins are safe for internal and external use in ambient conditions. You must be knowing then Scotch bites used for your cleaning your utensils, it contains phenolic resin. So as a resin from phenol is not harmful. However, many of the organic compounds released on pyrolysis of phenolic resins at metal pouring temperature are toxic to different extent. Content of free phenol, a potential toxic chemical in alphaset, is less than 0.5% and Furan less than 5%. Both are lower than upper limit of most widely used core making binder, phenolic urethane cold box or cold ball. But I won't say that this is not harmful. It has to be reduced further. Then formaldehyde is toxic and eye written in free form. In APNB or alphaset, it is too low to be traced by analytical instrument. In modern Furan, its value is reduced to as low as 0.05%. So this is a relatively unknown phenomena. One of the main reasons pertaining to quick acceptance of alphaset was its least adverse impact on environment compared to contemporary system. However, later on it was realized that this system releases formaldehyde, a potential eye irritant during curing with the hardeners. This is felt in soft floor during mold movement and also during baking after wash application. In Furan, this phenomena is not evidence. So this is the mechanism. I don't think whether you can see it. This is the mechanism by which formalin, evolution of formalin during curing is possible with alphaset. So I have got a couple of slides more. As I have told you in past that strength requirement can be of the binder systems can be categorized in 3 sections: dry, hot, and your retain. Left hand side, you can see the dry strength of your alphaset and Furan in practical addition levels, where Furan has got enormous strength, but after your metal pouring, your strength of Furan mold have gone drastically, even come below the level of Alphaset. Normally, usually, inorganic binders give inorganic binders, mainly sodium silicate, has got very good hot strength, but your dry strength is lower, so binder addition has to be increased to increase the dry strength, which eventually increase hot strength also. So that is the disadvantage. And Alphaset being a combination of inorganic and organic, it compromises, it gives a compromised formula for dry and hot strength. This is a strength and weakness. I think this is the last slide. You have to have patience for another 2 minutes. Silica sand choice for Alphaset is wide. In Furan, it is limited. Flexibility of formulation in APNB is limited with a lot of variables. In Furan, it is wide. Storage life for Alphaset is 2 months in summer, whereas in Furan, it is more than 6 months also. Performance during storage life in Alphaset, it deteriorates, particularly in summer. If you use after 7 days of manufacture and after 17 days of manufacture, you will find a difference in formula, your reactivity. Then range of bench life of mixed sand in Alphaset, it is wide. Furan, it is narrower than Alphaset. Then dry strength is good for Alphaset, but excellent for Furan. Hot strength, excellent for Alphaset, is good for Furan. Decoring is difficult for Alphaset, good for Furan. Reclaimability 70% by mechanical, 85% in case of mechanical in Alphaset, 85% Furan. Reclaimability 90 by 90 Alphaset and 98 for Furan. Quality of mechanically clean sand, poor in case of Alphaset, is excellent in case of Furan. Recipe or use level is 1.2 to 1.6 is to 20 in case of Alphaset. It is 0.8 to 1.1% is to 40 to 50 in Furan. Casting finish is excellent for Alphaset. It's fairly good for Furan. Recent Furans we have seen, I cannot quote the name of the foundries, but people are making, they have made Furan up to Alphaset, casting up to 15 tons steel casting, and another foundry is making regular 2 to 5 tons of steel casting using latest version of Furan. And I have seen the casting; these are having excellent gloss of the casting. If you see compare the castings at a practical addition level, these are more or less same. So overall economy good in case of Alphaset, better for Furan. So this is my conclusions. Modern FNB and FNB are predominantly used binders in no-bake foundries because of overall superiority compared to contemporary binders. Both the systems are usable with boxed as well as flashless molds patterns and compatible with all metals, ferrous and non-ferrous. Latest Furan with lower binder demand, more reclaimability of used sand, much improved workplace environment, including extremely low BTX emissions, if at all. Extremely rigidity of molds with increased scope of customization is my first choice for new foundries. Cast iron, SG, steel, and non-ferrous. You can choose yours. Thank you, and wishing a happy and prosperous year ahead to you, your families, friends, and dear ones. Thank you once again. Okay, Babu.
Thank you, Deepak sir. Thanks for the fantastic presentation. Do we have any questions for Mr. Deepak? Gentlemen, we have come to an end of the technical webinar. We have indeed had a very interesting technical webinar today on the topic binder for your no-bake foundry, Furan or Alphaset. Choice is yours. We are sure the contents of the talk had excellent takeaways for our audience. We would like to thank our speaker for the day, Mr. Dipak Ghosh, Director Technical, Forace Polymers Private Limited, for taking time off his busy schedule and making us rich with knowledge. Further, we would like to thank all the members who joined us for this talk. I am sure you had a wonderful learning experience, and thank you for joining us on time and being such a wonderful audience. We from Chennai chapter will be conducting many such interesting programs, both physically and virtually, and we will be sharing information on the same soon. Looking forward to your support as always in our upcoming programs as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you very much.